G'day, this is a quick video about using and setting up Smokeping on NixOS. We've got a quick agenda, which is the motivation, why we're doing this, a little bit about NixOS. We'll run through the configuration, we'll show you how the running state looks, and then finally we'll look at the web interface. So Smokeping has been around for, I don't know, is it 20 years? It's been around for a while. It's Perl scripts and it's got a bunch of monitoring. The really nice thing about it is that it can produce these histograms that you can see here. So in the case of pings, you get to see what's the variation in the ping times, and you also see packet loss and stuff. So it's pretty cute. The really nice thing about it is that it stores all of the data in these databases called the RRD databases. So it's a fixed size database. So on creation, it uses all of the space, and then it just populates that. This was the big advantage when we came out of using MRTG. So really nice. I like it because that means it's always there. I know you can stream the data off into Prometheus and via Black Box Explorer and those sort of things, but that's complicated, right? And various things can go wrong. RRD, it sort of stands on its own. If you end up having a problem with your Prometheus, this is going to still be running. Of course, I'm doing this with NixOS, so that means that I've written the config now, and hopefully I will never have to write that config again. I did post the full config to the NixOS Discord, so it's this Smokeping service if you search for that, and the code there is 66419 if you're going to go looking for it. Thanks. Alright, here's a quick little video about a Smokeping setup on NixOS. Pretty simple config, defining some targets. You can see them all. Got some HTTP tests in there, does some DNS lookup. The DNS lookup's kind of interesting because host means where the query gets sent. And so you can see I'm running a local resolver on the machine that's running Smokeping, and so that query is the fastest by far. Little bit of NixFoo here to get the config generated correctly. There's only average, there is not median, which is a bit disappointing, but whatever. And you can see the ping probes are set up here. So fping now supports both v4 and v6, so you don't need fping 6. The curl config is there. Took me a moment just to get that right, so you want to copy that. Also on Nix, we have a bunch of different places where dig can come from. There's like a dig package that's also part of bind. This one's working, so whatever. Yeah, a little bit of config just to allow Nginx to see it, and getting all the permissions set up correctly is important as well. I've started making dedicated slices for services. I don't know how that's going to go. My theory was it'll make it easier for monitoring. I think it makes more sense when you've got a slice with multiple services in it, but it's a couple of lines of config, so who cares? I did spend a long time on the security configuration, so I've really tried to lock that down. Memory and CPU limits. This is Smokeping, right? It's some Perl running. It really shouldn't use much resources, so I've put some limits in there just in case something goes wrong. I don't expect it to ever use anything like that. A lot of restricted permissions here. Couldn't lock down because it's got a wrapper around fping, because I think fping needs higher level permissions, and in fact it needs to be able to open raw sockets to do the ICMP v6 stuff, so that's why it's a little less restricted than you would have liked. And also, right, raw IO is allowed. So that all works. Rest of the stuff is pretty normal. I don't know if this matters. I ended up with it in there, but maybe you could take that out. I was trying to use this Prometheus Smokeping exporter. I don't think you want to do that. It looked like it was doing additional pings. I'm going to give it a pass. Here's the generated config, right? So it's the systemd service, and you can see all the configuration there, all of the security limits and protections. So yeah, pretty nice. I think there's also the slice, so we can see that. Right, tiny bit of config. And that obviously gets put in there via this. Here's the status of Smokeping. We can see that it's actually used a tiny amount of memory, right? It apparently peaked at 73 meg, so well within the limits we've set. And you can see the extra slice there, right, for the C group. And you can see that basically it's got a bunch of sub-processors that are running, so the fping, the curl, and the DNS. And this is the web interface for Smokeping. So it's kind of interesting. It's got this section for where's the highest packet loss, what are the highest standard deviation, and so on. So I guess that helps you if you've got, something's changed. There's the DNS resolution all working. Nothing exciting there. You can obviously see that the local lookup is the fastest one by far. DNS servers is kind of cool, right? It's all IPv6. You can see it bouncing around there. All HTTP tests, not bad. Google's the best by far. Pinging a bunch of things there. That's all looking good. And I'm actually pinging some internal things as well. So yeah, it's kind of nice. It's really nice and fast.